we are live. I'm going to take a couple of seconds to let people filter in. Perfect, live and everything. Okay, amazing. Okay, hello, my friends. Good evening. My name is Haley. I'm a bookseller here at the Novel Neighbor. And I'm really excited to hang out with you guys for the next hour or so. So if you don't know who we are the Novel Neighbor. We are a women-owned and independently operated bookstore located in St. Louis, Missouri. And so welcome to the Putnam Holiday Panel. We hosted something like this last year, and we had such a blast that we wanted to do it again this year, but with a completely new cast of authors and new holiday novels this year. So we're very excited. But before I introduce them, I wanted to go through the plan for the evening. So our authors will join me here in just a second to celebrate their festive winter novels. And then towards the end of the event, we'll have an audience Q&A. So if you have a question for any of them, feel free to comment them on whatever platform you're watching this on, and then we'll ask them at the very end. That's truly everything. So not a lot tonight. It's going to be a very easy, very fun holiday night. So our star-studded cast tonight starts with Julia McKay, who wrote The Holiday Honeymoon Switch, Holly Cassidy with The Christmas Countdown, Eliza Evans and The Christmas Cookie Wars, Jenny Bayliss and Kiss Me at Christmas, and then finally Falon Ballard, who wrote All I Want Is You. So let me add our stars to the stage. Oh my gosh, look at everyone. And Eliza has her cute little festive pink Christmas tree. It's so magical already, guys.
Christmas everywhere at my house already. Yes.
Everywhere. Okay, so let's get started. Let's do a little an introduction of yourself and then your book for the evening. So let's, to my right, let's start with Eliza and then work around.
Okay, sounds good. I'm Eliza Evans and I wrote The Christmas Cookie Wars. Just came out in October, and I love everything Christmas. So yes, I do write exclusively Christmas books under the name Eliza Evans. Last year I had The Christmas Cafe come out. It's also a standalone, fun, eclectic, just nostalgic Christmas story set in a small town. So that's kind of what I gravitate toward, just quirky characters, small town settings, and a lot of fun, nostalgic Christmas traditions. So thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
All right, and then let's do Holly.
Whenever you say Holly, I go, wait, oh yeah, that's you. So I'm Holly Cassidy, also better known as Hannah Mary McKinnon. So I write holiday romantic comedies as Holly and thrillers as Hannah Mary McKinnon. I'm here tonight representing The Christmas Countdown, which is my second Holly Cassidy Christmas book that came out in October. And what else can I tell you? I'm based in Toronto, originally from the UK, grew up in Switzerland, and there's actually a lot of Swiss stuff in here, but a lot of my own heritage, while sprinkling in a dollop here and there of my own Swiss heritage into this book. And Christmas is my favorite holiday, and here I am. Thank you for the invitation.
Christmas. Okay, and then let's go down to Eliza. Nope, we already hit Eliza. We're moving as I'm going. Okay, let's jump over to Jenny.
Hello, I'm Jenny Bayliss, and this is this year's Christmassy book, which is called Kiss Me at Christmas. And for grown-ups, I write exclusively Christmas books. I love Christmas. I think we're all pretty mad about Christmas on this panel. And I also write for children under Jenny Jennings. So I just like to have all the names, if possible. And yeah, that's me. This is my 5th book of Christmas.
Okay, and then down to Falon.
Hi, I am Falon Ballard, and my Christmas book is All I Want Is You. This is my first Christmas book. I've written several other rom-coms, and I basically begged them to let me write a Christmas book, and they were silly enough to agree, and here we are. And I just love Christmas books. I love reading them. I had so much fun writing this one, so I'm really excited to chat all about holiday books.
Slay. And then at last, Julia. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Like
There we
I've been on a Zoom call before. So I am also writing under a pseudonym. So my real name is Marissa Stapley. The Holiday Honeymoon Switch is my first holiday book under the Julia McKay pseudonym. I've written as Maggie Knox with Canadian author Karma Brown, who also has a holiday book coming out next year under a new name. We're all like doing the alias thing. And I wrote a holiday book last year with Uzma Jalaluddin called 3 Holidays and a Wedding. And under Marissa Stapley, I write fiction. I just released The Lightning Bottles, and Lucky actually was just today announced that it's an Apple TV series starring Anya Taylor-Joy. So I'm still kind of Christmas magic of that. Yeah, it's going to be a good Christmas this year. So feeling the magic. But thank you for having me.
Of course. I know we're feeling the magic tonight. That's so amazing. And I feel like the holidays are such like a magical time of year, like no matter like what you sell or like what you celebrate. So like it's hard to not imagine like why you wouldn't want to write like a holiday themed novel. But like what was your guys's like reasoning for wanting to like publish and write like holiday novels? And we can just kind of like go for it. So whoever wants to talk, get in there.
I mean, I think for me and probably for all of us, we all love the holiday season. And so that's just, it provides so much inspiration for just that feeling of togetherness and, you know, good family time and just tradition and just that warm, cozy, you know, feeling that people are looking for this time of year. Just that it's a special time for families and for togetherness, I guess, for me.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I first started writing holiday rom-coms, I was writing with a co-author. It was in the middle of the pandemic, and all we could think about was Christmas 2020, I think it was, that we were all looking forward to. And we all just kept saying like, oh, you know, all I want is just something with a happy ending, but like a super happy ending and like a holiday happy ending. You know, it's because a happy ending is great, and I love romances for that. But when you have Christmas, like your happy ending usually happens on Christmas morning, and like maybe somebody's proposing, or there are all these really extra double magic things happening. And I just love it. It's catnip for me. I would read holiday rom-coms all year. So I'm glad that there are so many amazing ones I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think I was the same. I love reading holiday rom-coms, and I was writing other things and you know, sort of being rejected multiple times when I was trying to get published. And then I thought, I'm going to write the book that I would love to write rather than what I thought other people might want me to write. So I thought, well, my heart lies with Christmas. So I wrote the 12 Dates of Christmas, and that was the one that then was my first book published. So that was kind of like, I was like, okay, so clearly Christmas is my jam.
Yeah, very similar for me too, really. What's been said, I love Christmas. I was writing thrillers, and in 2020, my mum passed away, and I couldn't get to Switzerland to see her because of all the lockdowns and everything. And it's probably why my thriller that I was writing at the time, Never Coming Home, is my funniest, because I needed to write something funny. It's evil and everything else, but it's also funny. But then I had the opportunity to write something really funny and have it in the Christmas season to boot. So that made me very happy. It helped beat the COVID blues, you know?
Yeah, that was a lot of it for me too. It was like in 2020, I think there were like 3 or 4 months where like the only thing I could watch was like Hallmark Christmas movies. It was like the only thing I could like sit down and pay attention to. And so right on cue, I actually started writing in winter of 2020, and it was originally a holiday book. And then my editor kind of put the kibosh on that because she was like, this book is coming out in February. It can't be a Christmas book. And I was like, okay, cool. So I had to change a lot of it. And ever since then, I just really wanted to write a holiday book. So last year I was like, can I please do one for next year? And they were like, all right, fine. And here we are.
And here we are. I'm always like so intrigued with like holiday like novels and like romances that like come out in time for like the holiday season. And I'm always like wondering what the writing process is like, because you're probably like writing it outside of like winter and outside of like the holiday season. Like it's probably like, I don't know, summer when you're doing like the final like copy edits and like line edits. How does it feel like writing outside of the specific holiday you were writing for, if that makes sense?
I mean, I think, like, as I said, I would, like, I'm a person who's like, Christmas in July, okay. Like, I can do it. I can get myself into the Christmas spirit anytime. I shop all year and have like Christmas presents hiding around my office that I'll find like 6 months later and be like, oh shoot, I didn't wrap that one up. So it's not hard to get into that mood. But I also think as authors, we're often, time doesn't really mean anything, right? Like you're working on something and your deadline is so intense for a book that's coming out in like 12 or 13 or 14 months. So I think we're kind of used to just stepping out of time and just doing what needs to be done.
And streaming services are so great because you can get Christmas movies anytime of year. So for me, it's all about the inspiration, even if it's, summer, spring, whatever. You can fire up those Christmas movies and watch a couple of those. You can listen to the music. Yeah, you just pretend it's Christmas all the time.
Does that pink tree just stay up all year?
Right. Yeah.
Does anyone else have like any takes on like their process throughout the year writing a holiday novel?
It doesn't worry me, but I can write. Yeah, I can be in the Christmas moment at any time, so that's fine for me. And if I feel like I need the help, I'll put some Christmas music on. But even in the middle of summer, I'm like, it's in my brain. It's always Christmas. And now that I write a Christmas book every year, it really is like constantly. My brain is always Christmas
every year.
Yeah,
I think that's so like funny and crazy, and it's just like middle of summer, Christmas in July. You're like, yep, it's still Christmas, and I absolutely love that. But as we were like introducing you all write essentially underneath pseudonyms for different like genres. How is it writing like holiday romances compared to like the different genres you have like written in the past?
That one. Family interruption. Sorry about that.
You're so fine.
Who would like?
So the question was, how does it compare writing holiday romances versus, say, thrillers for me?
Yeah.
For example. So a couple of things. I found writing thrillers a little bit different. So writing a romantic comedy, which was my very, very first book, was a romantic comedy, and going back to that wasn't a massive shock. But I remember with The Christmas Wager, this was last year's book, thinking, oh, fantastic, I don't have to come up with a super twisty ending because they're going to end up together. Obviously, the super twisty ending would be if I killed them both, right? And then it wouldn't be a romantic comedy and that wouldn't count. So you can't do that. And I thought, oh, fantastic. I feel quite relieved that I don't have to come up with this big twist. And that thought was immediately followed by, oh, crap. Everybody knows what the ending's going to be. They're going to easily spot the two main, the love interests. Of course, we all know who they are. How am I going to make the journey interesting? It all becomes about the journey rather than the big twist at the end. So that was interesting. And in comparison to the thrillers, my thrillers might start off the first chapters, a couple of pages. I'm thinking of Only One Survives. The last one is a blog entry. It's 2 or 3 pages. The one before that, a car goes off a cliff with 2 people in it. You don't know who they are. You don't know why. It's 2 pages and they're about to die, or so you think. Whereas in a romantic comedy, you've got to ease the reader in, give them more who is Callie and why is she heartbroken and how does she feel 7 months post breakup and all this. And I remember thinking, I'm going to stuff all that in chapter 1. Wow, that feels so weird. So there definitely is a difference, but in the end it still comes down to plotting, pacing, character development, and hopefully building an interesting story. So and not giving readers reasons not to put the book down. That's ultimately what I try to do with anything I write.
Yeah, I think Hannah's like sort of nailed it there, because it's that you know that they're going to end up together. But I always think it's a bit like, like with Columbo, if you're watching an episode of Columbo, everyone knows who the murderer is, but the fun is getting to the point where Columbo nails them. And so that and a rom-com in that way is we all know they're going to get together in the end, but the fun part is seeing how they get there. So that's kind of how that works. But then I also write for children, so that is so I don't have to and mind that the books I've written so far for children have all been about sort of like ghosts and all kinds of imaginary things. So it's very different because I don't have to ground anything in reality, so I can mess about with time. I can do I can have all sorts of crazy things happening, and then so for me, when I write the rom-com, that's a little bit more based in reality than than the rest of my books are. So, but they're both equally fun to write.
I always think about Emily Henry's great Time magazine interview where she talks about how, yes, we know what's going to happen. And yes, that makes some people say that they're formulaic or trite. I was actually asked at an event recently if I worked as hard on my holiday books. And I was like, if anything, harder, because romance readers are they know exactly what they want and you must give it to them. And what Emily was saying in that interview that I loved was, you can go to dark places, you can explore life and grief and all of these things, but the only formula is that happy place that we're all talking about, and leaving them in that moment too, like creating characters complex enough that you can leave them there and your reader will understand it's not just like a trite formulaic happy ending. It's a happy moment for a person who feels real on Christmas morning with someone proposing.
I've been married for 25 years to the love of my life, so anyone who tells me that romance books aren't realistic, I can tell them actually, yeah, they are. So that's my take on it.
And I think most of us take very seriously, like the story may turn out in a happy ending every time. That's what we're delivering, that promise, right? But it's our job to make the characters so compelling that you feel like you've never met them before. That's what we spend a lot of time. That's a challenge. That's not easy writing, to make really deep, three-dimensional characters who feel different than anyone else you've ever read or spent time with, any other character. So I think, yeah, I take that seriously for, we want the happy ending, of course, but it's the fun in getting there, right? With the characters and spending time with them and their friends and their families and just being a part of their life for a while. I think that's a big reason why romance readers are reading romance, why they're reading holiday romance. Not all of us have that happy family dynamic every holiday, right? There's a lot of us who have some messy stuff, but we know that we can read these books and it might get messy for a while, but then it's going to turn out happy. It's going to be okay. And that's something that we all relate to, I think, wanting that too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to cry in the club right now. That was so good. As like a bookseller and also like as a romance reader in general, I think like the most interesting thing about like romance novels and like the romance genre, as opposed to like your highbrow literary fiction or just like even a sci-fi fantasy novel, is that like your characters in a romance novel just feel human. And I think that's so cool that like romance authors can like literally craft actual like humans in their brains that are like as Eliza said, like completely separate from people you know, but like people you know as you're like reading through it. So it's like you grow to love these strangers that are like uniquely human, but they like spawn from your brain. And I think that is so intriguing, and that's what I love about the genre as well. So all of your books are like holiday themed books and like Christmas themed books. What are your guys' like favorite holiday and like Christmas traditions?
I mean, mine is still just watching Hallmark movies. All the time.
Wait, have you seen that like the new Hallmark movie that's based off of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift yet?
I have not seen that one yet. I've actually been watching a lot of the Netflix ones so far this year. They have not
Snowman and
disappointed.
Gretchen Wieners, like sexy snowman or like hot snowman.
Hot Frosty. That's actually shot in Brockville. Yeah, that's shot in Brockville, Ontario, like not too far from here.
It was delightful.
I
Yeah, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with those.
We do a new book and new pajamas for everyone on Christmas Eve. I usually end up getting everyone 5 books because I've shopped through the year and forgotten what I got. But it's, now that the kids are 16 and 17, it becomes even more special to have that tradition ingrained in them. And to give books is always an absolute delight.
We always do a huge cookie baking. It probably doesn't surprise anyone that I'm obsessed with baking. Not that great at it, but I love it. And so we do like a family cookie baking. And that's something, my boys now are 18 and 16, and my 18-year-old just went up to college, but we're still doing that. Like, we're all going to get together. I'm going to make them decorate the cookies with the frosting and all the sprinkles. And because we've done that since they were little, and with cousins and aunts and uncles. And so everybody kind of gets together. Most of them are just eating the cookies, but there are decorating them as well.
I have 2. Well, one has been discontinued, but will live on forever in the book, and the other one I did today. So I always, whenever I wrap gifts, I watch The Family Man, and I did that today. So The Family Man is with Tia Leone and Nicolas Cage, and it's one of my all-time favorite movies. So I was doing that this afternoon. So that's that done. But then in Countdown, in the Christmas Countdown, the story is based on an advent calendar I used to make originally for Rob, my husband, and then for the kids, a task and treat advent calendar where I would just put 24 little bags on some twine and hang them up on the banister, siphon off the mini Halloween chocolates and put one in each bag with a task and treat note. So tasks would be things like, help with dinner or make somebody's bed or something non-material, but something they had to do. And similarly, the treats were also non-material because they were going to get loot for Christmas, right? So they didn't need more stuff. So it was treats like get Dad to read you 2 bedtime stories today, or stay up an extra 30 minutes, that kind of thing. And they had those for a good few years, and that was what inspired the Countdown, and that will always be one of my favorite memories. Although my our young men are now 21, and the twins will be 20 next week. And I asked the oldest one, Leo, I said, "Do you remember those advent calendars I used to make?" And he looked at me and he said, "No." And then I showed him, and he went, Oh yeah, I think thankfully one of the twins, and I think Lex too, they knew. I thought, all of that time invested, you don't remember. But then it rang a distant bell, and when I showed them, because I still have them, I still have the old ones with the little notes in them, and they did actually remember, thankfully. So otherwise it would have been a bit of a letdown.
I bake too much. That is, that's generally what happens at Christmas.
But tell us why, Jenny. Tell us why, because you are a professional
baker.
Yes.
I was a baker for about 10 years. I was a professional baker. So, I, don't do that now, but I do go, like, I bake a lot at Christmas, far more than is probably necessary. But also since my kids left home, because they are now 30 and 25. So when they come home, my role in life is to feed them. And then once they're home, when we're all together, we always watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and it never gets old, no matter how many times we watch it. So yeah.
We watch Die Hard because it is a Christmas movie, and I will die on that hill.
It is a Christmas movie. I have like such visceral memories of watching Christmas Vacation growing up, and like my mom putting up like our Christmas tree on Black Friday, because like we weren't like a Black Friday shopping family. Those crowds were not it. And also like crowds on Black Friday don't exist anymore. I just like remember like seeing like the commercials and like seeing all the people like race into Walmart for like those 80% off deals. But my mom never did that, but she was like, Thanksgiving is over. We're going to put the tree up on Black Friday. And my dad would always like cause a fit about it, but he was always like, yeah, it's Christmas now. But my mom would watch she would watch Christmas Vacation, and she would put her tree up, and we'd put our little nativity set out, and it was always like so much fun. But Holly, you mentioned something about like no longer having this tradition, but putting it in her books. Are there any other of like your guys' traditions that made it into like your holiday books? Or did you make like new traditions for like these books?
My husband would carry our tree home from the grocery shopping supermarket area where we would get it, and which it's from this beautiful Christmas tree farm. And I actually think I shouldn't even say this because I feel like this is a rom-com idea. The guy he's kind of handsome. He lives in a trailer for the duration of the holiday season, selling the Christmas trees until he can go back to presumably his magical Christmas tree farm, where he's obviously unattached, and his girlfriend from the past is going to show up in town. But Joe he carries like the tree, like the block to our home, and I feel like Aiden has kind of that like hot lumberjack thing going. And my husband picked up on it when he read it. And I think it really works. It works for everyone. Like my agent will be like, can you post, are you going to post a picture of Joe carrying the tree this year? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on it. So that's the only time my life resembles a rom-com.
I think for me, it's like, I have kind of gotten used to my holidays looking a little bit different each year, just because of, my work stuff or my husband's work stuff, or, this year, like my brother and his wife are set to have a baby on like December 20th this year. So obviously like this Christmas will be a little bit different. And I think it's really cool that you can kind of change up your setting or your location, or like which day you're going to spend with your family, but still have it feel like the holiday. It doesn't always have to look exactly the same every year. You can, kind of adjust and make it work. Obviously, we had to do that a lot during the pandemic. So Nick and Jess have that quite a bit in All I Want Is You, where each Christmas that they spent together looked a little bit different, but the core of it is still that they're spending that time together.
In mine, it's about a single mom. Melody's a single mom who has two twin 10-year-old boys, and I didn't necessarily draw any of our traditions, except the cookie baking is in there, of course. But she's kind of going through that phase where they're giving up on some Christmas traditions. As kids grow up, some of those things, are not as magical. And she's the one having a hard time with that, right? They don't believe in Santa anymore, and they're kind of giving up on all of the Christmas magical traditions, which we all go through as parents. And I did draw inspiration from that process with my kids. And so then you're finding new things, new traditions to start. And that was kind of a theme in the book, is like, yep, Christmas is going to look a little different maybe every year, especially as the kids are growing up and stuff. But you can still find new traditions and even new connections, and invite other people into those traditions too, being open to that as part of it. So.
Okay. I just love like traditions, and like Eliza, when you were saying like how Christmases seem different every year, I think that's like so important. My whole TikTok feed right now is like people my age being like, oh, Christmas isn't the same anymore, but like still celebrating with family. And I feel like that's like super important, especially like during the holidays. What are your guys' like favorite holiday movies, like Christmas movies or like winter movies? Like, what's your go-to Christmas like movie?
Family Man.
Die Hard.
And Die Hard, yeah. Yep.
I love The Holiday, which kind of partially inspired the book, but I wanted it like The Holiday, but make them besties. And I really love The Family Stone. That's a Christmas movie.
Yes, it is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Right? Yeah.
Mine
I
is
like
definitely
Gremlins.
While You Were Sleeping. I love that one so much.
Oh, I've not seen that one for years. Oh, I need to watch
So
that
good.
again now. You've just reminded me.
So good.
I would say the Polar Express, and partly just because I loved the book as a kid myself, and felt like it was such a magical story. And so, when the movie came out, then we watched it. Of course, our boys were obsessed with trains too, which helped. But so we still watch that one every year, just because it has that. I mean, the story is just one of my favorites from my own childhood too. So.
Yeah. I love like the old stop motion animation movies. So I think it was like The Little Drummer Boy, or it was in it. But I grew up like Catholic, so it was like one that they would show like pretty much like for all of like preschool through kindergarten. It was like our Christmas party movie about like the donkey that carries Mary to Bethlehem.
Oh, the small one. That's a holiday tradition. Bing Crosby. Yeah, my dad always plays that for us. He has the record and we listen on Christmas Eve. And my daughter was talking about the small one the other day when she was setting up the nativity, and she was like, oh, is this the small one, that donkey? If you haven't listened to the small one, everyone, I mean, it's actually, you don't have to be at all religious. It's such a beautiful story about the donkey who carries Mary. I'm glad you brought that up. It's really lovely.
It is just like one that I like always go back to, but I love like back to backing those like stop motion animation ones, like Frosty the Snowman is always like a good one.
Rudolph, the
like
unwanted misfit toys, the land of misfit toys.
But it's like that one company that does all of those movies. I eat them up every single time. What is on your guys' like Christmas list this year?
World peace, right, everyone?
I'll take that.
Peace.
I actually have a right-hand gold ring from my husband, and I think he went to get it because we have Life 360. Does anybody have that? And I accidentally looked at the wrong moment, and I was like, "Aw." It's in the jewelry store.
Oh no,
another rom-com subplot.
I don't think I really have anything on my list. I'm much better at gifting than thinking of. I'm much better at thinking of stuff for other people than I am for myself. So I haven't really put anything on my list. I'm going to Switzerland to see my dad in January, so that's enough. that's plenty.
I feel that. I love to like give gifts, and then the moment anyone is like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, "Oh, actually, you don't need to get me anything. My gift is me giving you something." Actually, my partner is like really bad about that too. He's always like, I always ask him what he wants, and he like never really like knows what he wants. He always buys himself the things that like he like actively wants, and then he turns it around on me and he's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I want to get you something. And so we're just like endless cycle of, well, what do you want for Christmas? And what do you want for Christmas? And we cycle through that all December. And then
Whenever like the gift of the Magi, right?
It really is. Instead of like us like trading things for each other, we're just like, here? I think you might like this. But I know it's always like hard, like settling on what you want for Christmas. My mom is like so close to like wringing my neck in the sense of like, I need to like create like an Amazon cart of like my Christmas items that I want. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So it's always so hard. So before we
store gift cards forever and ever. That's all I need.
I truly do love a gift card. It's so easy, and especially when you know where they like to shop, it's easy, and I stand by that. So before we move on to like audience Q&A, I have some like fun like this or that questions surrounding Christmas. So we'll kind of like go around and I'll like ask like this or that, and then we'll all answer. So turkey or ham? I know we just celebrated Thanksgiving, and that's a lot of turkey, but like imagine yourself end of December, it's Christmas. Turkey or ham?
Turkey for me.
Turkey.
Ham for me, but we don't do either for Christmas. We do a Swiss raclette with cheese. So there you go. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I'll take ham.
Nut roast, because I haven't eaten meat for about 28 years, but I do have to cook a turkey for like my husband and one of my sons who isn't vegetarian. So yeah, so once a year I cook a massive turkey that I'm not going to eat.
I love those men. I don't want to eat meat when I'm cooking a turkey like that. Like it makes me want to. I like it cooked for me, but if I cook it myself, I don't eat meat for like a month. So,
Jenny, what do you substitute like your meat for then? Like, do you do like a tofu or some kind of like a fondue?
No, I just have nut roast and then all the roasty vegetables to go with it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nice. What time can I come over?
Plus, you're a baker. I think we're all coming.
We're all on like your holiday invite list now. Okay.
Well, I mean, I make too much anyway, so it's fine. Come on over.
It's fine. All right, mulled wine or eggnog?
Oh, mulled wine.
Mulled wine. Eggnog is tough, right?
Yeah, wine all the time.
Mulled wine. But I've never had eggnog. We don't have it over here. It's not a thing.
Oh, you're not missing anything.
Kind of weird. Who likes eggnog?
We'll bring some with us. We'll bring some with us, Jenny.
Like eggnog.
You like it?
I do. I don't know why. I think it's like my dad would always drink it, and so like I would see him with like the carton of it, and I'm like, ooh, the forbidden milk.
Sometimes like you could put rum in.
I was like, I like it. I think for the forbiddenness factor of it all, and like you can also like spike it with like the Bayliss stuff in it, and that's always like really really good. And Starbucks has like this really good eggnog latte that is a slay every year, and I eat it up. That is like my Christmas latte. So like we're out of pumpkin spice season. We're in eggnog latte territory now.
I don't think we have that here. I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think so.
I don't go to Starbucks, so pass. I cannot answer.
I don't even like eggnog, and I'm upset by this. Like
you can also like do it at home too, or like some gas stations have like a little like shot machine like for like your espresso shots. So you can like get the little carton of eggnog, and you can like run yourself a little shot, and you can like make it like where you get like your like drinks, like the fountain sodas, and that's always something you could do just to like try it.
Yeah.
I'm so offended for you. I love my eggnog lattes.
I just love that you call it forbidden milk. That is the best
I don't even know what's in eggnog, but it looks like milk, and I don't want to know what's in it. But at the time, I'm like, forbidden milk. It comes in a carton like my milk. Okay, moving on. Christmas sweaters or Christmas pajamas?
PJs.
Pajamas.
Yeah,
PJs.
pajamas.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
a
All
Christmas
day.
sweater.
Yes.
I love like an ugly.
If I'm going out, sure, a sweater, that's funny. But if I'm staying home, oh, give me the pajamas. Yeah,
PJs.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe even going out in particularly nice PJs. You know, the kids do it. Right?
The kids do it. Elf or the Grinch? Ooh.
The Grinch for me, just because it's so timeless. It's been around forever. Childhood, yeah, Grinch.
I'm gonna go elf.
Same.
Ooh.
Oh, I
Yeah,
just don't know.
Elf for me, that's something I didn't watch that as a kid. Well, it would have been out when I was a kid anyway, but it wasn't something that I was familiar with until, well after it had come out. So, and it's funny and I like it.
I love Elf, and Zooey Deschanel is in it, and she looks really good in it. And
So cute.
that was formative for my youth. Sugar cookies or gingerbread cookies?
Ooh. Both.
I know. We have too hard.
Whatever's left over, I don't mind.
Whatever Jenny is baking us and sending us.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, it'll be both. It's fine.
Okay, ice skating or sledding?
Skating, because
Ice skating for me because we live on a lake.
Ooh, that's cool.
We're on a lake, so we skate all the time. Yeah.
I'm a paranoid mom, so I'm always like, sledding is so dangerous. So I prefer ice skating.
I'll take sledding for 50 points, especially if it is where I grew up near Interlaken, up in Grindelwald. There's, I think it's 7 kilometers that you can sled down at night. It's lit. Don't freak out. It's lit and it's fantastic. So I picked that one. Might even be more than
I'd do
7
that too.
kilometers,
Then
I'm not sure.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I would choose that.
Come with me. Bring the cookies. and we'll do it together.
We'll all go with Hannah. That seems like a good idea.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I love sledding. I grew up like my house was like on a hill, so we always had like a hill to go sledding on. And I lived like next to like the Knights of Columbus Hall that had like the most dangerous hill you've probably ever seen. But like we had a snow day, and all of the kids were flocking to the Columbus Hall and just taking that hill full speed. So I really love sledding. I think it's fun. I love the danger of it. Okay, and last one before we open it up to audience Q&A. Real trees or fake trees?
Real.
Real.
Oh, my husband can carry it and be the hot lumberjack.
Oh, he's the hot lumberjack.
Doesn't work with a fake tree.
I have a fake one.
It's okay.
I have a
also
fake
have a
one.
fake one.
Yeah.
I mean, the pink one's fake too, so both.
No, it isn't.
I thought it was real.
Stop it.
Yeah, we're real. Sometimes real. Sometimes we used to always have real, and then my eldest son and his girlfriend started bringing their cats home, and because their cats stay in all the time because they live in London in like a flat, so we got a fake tree because we weren't sure how they would react to a real tree. But this year we're going to go for a real tree again and just see what the cats make of it. I don't know what's going to happen.
I feel like I love a fake tree for the sense that like, yeah, like whenever you like take it out, it like the fake needles fall and stuff and you have to like sweep it up. But I feel like with a real tree, you get like even more needles that you have to sweep up. And I feel like that's so much more upkeep. And I can't deal with all of that upkeep. They look so pretty. I don't have that time. Okay, now audience Q&A, friends. I've been like starring them as I'm like going down. So this question is specifically for Jenny. In a December to remember, the winter solstice celebration was so descriptive. I felt like I was there. Is this an event you grew up with or have been to?
I never have, and it was just something that I've watched sort of programs about cooking, but where they do like the history of the winter solstice, and they all drink wassail and they go all wassailing, and I loved that, and so I've never done it myself. Although last year, my sister and me and my friend Kate Cole, who's also an author, and her sister, we got on Zoom and we all made wassail, and we had our own winter solstice. So that was cute.
That is so cute. This question is for Falon. My book club read your book this month. What question would you pose to them if you were joining our meeting?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Well, thank you for reading. Let's see. Maybe I would ask. This is so hard because I'm like, I don't want to hear anything negative about my own book. Like, don't tell me anything bad. So maybe which of Nick and Jess's Christmases was your favorite that they spent together?
Okay, this one is for everyone. It's just, what is your perfect winter day?
Mine is at Disneyland. You might notice behind me, I have a lot of mini ears hanging on my door. I am a SoCal girl and a Disneyland fanatic, so it doesn't feel like winter, but it's winter in the castle always. I'll take the fake snow. It's as close as I get.
I'd go skiing. And then come home and have a raclette. That would be my perfect winter day. But not in southern Ontario, because skiing here sucks. There, I said it. I grew up in the Alps. Come on, don't judge me. What can I say?
I was going to say I love skiing at a little hill near our Ontario cabin that we have that has this magical little ski run past all these other cabins, and you'll go and you'll see people just kind of sitting by their fire, and it feels like you're in a magical little world. It's so cute. However, to redeem myself, Hannah, we are spending Christmas in the French Alps, and we'll be skiing in Val d'Isere. So
Yes.
I'll get a chance to try the Alps too, because I'll admit it's not hard skiing. It's so easy. You can be like, look, I think that guy's watching Family Man as you go by.
I was going to say something outdoors for sure, either skiing or snowshoeing or ice skating for a while, and then coming inside, having the hot cocoa, putting on the fire, curling up and watching a good movie, or reading a good book would be my ideal, I think. Yeah,
mine is going to the beach, because I live near the beach, and so when it's like really, really cold, but the sky is that bright blue and it's just so crisp, and then you walk along the beach, and we have little coffee huts along the promenade, so like when you're freezing and then you get a hot coffee and then you watch the sea, that's my perfect winter day.
I love how like all of your perfect winter days are like spent like outside. Mine would be like, I'm like cozied up in my couch, I have a book, I have like a hot chocolate, and I read all day while it snows outside, and I'm staying inside where it's warm. Okay, this one is for everyone all as well. Are there any traditions that you've seen online that you've wanted to adapt to your books or your own life?
I have always wanted to do the like give a book and like have reading time kind of a tradition. Unfortunately, I am the only reader in my household. So that is the biggest disappointment ever. But yeah, if I gave my husband a book, he would be like, I don't know what to do with this.
There's always a lot of delicious food in my books, and I'm a person who reads recipe books kind of like they're fiction. I collect them, I look through them, and I'm like, gosh, that looks so delicious. Like somebody came for dinner on the weekend and made an ottolenghi rum raisin cake, and it took her like 15 minutes to make the sauce, and she was so delighted to do it. And I want that to be a tradition. Just people make complex things for me that I have seen in cookbooks that I read like fiction. And it does seem to happen a lot in my books that everyone's really eating some good food. On that note, I do have to tap out because I have to get ready for my next event. But thank you, everyone, and happy holidays. Okay, take care.
Thank you so much for joining us. Bye. Happy
Bye.
holidays. Oh my gosh, we'll just continue the fun without her. There's a couple more questions, and then we will wrap this up. So question for all as well. How far in advance do you start planning out next year's holiday or like non-holiday manuscript?
Gosh, so I hand in a manuscript anywhere from 14 to 16 months before it publishes, typically. So of course, if it's a Christmas book, it's got to, you can't move Christmas if you're delayed or whatever. So, but that's typically the time frame. So that's when I would finish what I would call my first draft for my editor, which is not my first draft. So that would be, I'd start it well ahead. But yeah, it's about 14 to 16 months probably.
Yeah, I'm currently working on my 2026 books. So I'm editing my February 2026 book and I'm drafting my fall 2026 book. So in the future, living in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, so I get my first draft in on 1st of November, and then edits are coming back for that and then I'll be working on those. But in the meantime, I'm thinking about the next book that I'll be writing, because then when my edits are all done and everything is sort of done and dusted by April, May time, I've then got to crack on with the following year's book in order to get that in on the 1st of November of next year, if that makes sense. Yeah. So
we're always working ahead, always thinking ahead. I have a whole notebook full of ideas for future books that are kind of consecutive. And so I think, lots of time in there for sure. Lots of lead time.
All right. This one is also for everyone as well. What holiday books are you loving right now?
Well, I just started Jenny's book last night, and it is so adorable. I'm loving it so much. I am a former theater teacher, so I am like eating this one up. It is everything I could want.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind of you.
I was going to say, I have all of them ready to go. I've been working through some edits and stuff on other things, other projects. And so I haven't been able to read as much lately, but I am going to jump in this week. I'm so excited to start reading Christmas. I know. Usually I'm like beginning of November, at least, start my TBR pile for Christmas, but I'm a little delayed this year. So I'm very excited.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough when you have your own Christmas book coming out and you're promoting that as well, and editing a manuscript, and I wish sometimes I had a bit more. Well, not sometimes. I often wish I had more time to read. And I'm looking forward to the holiday break, and then I can really get stuck in a lot more.
Yeah, same. I've got a massive TBR of Christmas books that I'm hoping to get through. But yeah, I read. Well, I've read everyone's book, but I've also read Christmas is All Around by Martha Waters. That was really fun. That was like, so it was like so sort of witty and sarcastic, and that the kind of humor that I really enjoy. So I was like, oh yeah.
We have been really loving Georgia Clark's Most Wonderful at the store. It's like this queer friend group all finding like love, entering relationships in like their 30s. And it's like this cluster of holiday romance and holiday chaos, and it is such a fun time, and we all have been like obsessing over it. So let's do like one more question, and then I will let you all go into like the magical Christmas ether. What are you guys working on? What is next from you guys?
Well, I'm writing another Christmas book, and it does have a baking element in it, and I can't say too much yet, but yeah, it's going to be a fun kind of frenemies type story surrounding a wedding and cake and Christmas. So super fun.
Nice. The next book for me is going to be called I'll Be Home for Christmas, and it's about a family of Christmas cracker makers.
That's brilliant.
Well, my sister makes Christmas crackers for a living. That's what she does.
Oh God, that's so cool. Gimme.
She's living my dream, honestly.
Yes, I love that. Well, I do not have a holiday book in the works, but I do have 2 books coming out next year. So in February, I have Change of Heart, which actually does have some Christmas in it. It's about a woman who gets trapped in a Hallmark movie, essentially. And then in fall of next year, I have Something Wicked, which is my first romantasy book. And it is Macbeth meets Moulin Rouge.
Wait, I love Macbeth.
Lots of stabbing. It's fun.
Give it to me now, Rachel.
I have a thriller coming out next year in September. So that's under Hannah Mary McKinnon, that for now is called A Killer Motive, which I suspect it might be called that. And that is about a woman whose 17-year-old brother disappears from a beach party she takes him to. He's grounded, so she busts him out of their parents' house and takes him to the party, and he vanishes. And 6 years later, she's a true crime podcast host. She's on the radio to promote her show, and says that if she ever found a clue about her brother's disappearance, she would bring the perpetrator to justice if there was any foul play, because nobody knows what happened. And then she gets an email from maybe the perp or maybe not. So that is A Killer Motive in September. So I'm excited about that one. So, and then I'm going to start working on something else in January. I have 2 books in mind, but I can't say more than that because they're just vague ideas at this point, kind of.
Love me a vague idea. So all of those in the future are theoretically available for pre-order here at the Novel Neighbor, and all of their current like holiday romances are available to order at the Novel Neighbor. So if like you guys have been like watching and you're like, oh, that book sounds really good, I can hook you up. The Novel Neighbor can hook you up. We can get you these books. So when you're thinking about like holiday shopping for your friends and family, make sure to keep like our holiday romances in mind when you guys are shopping. But that is the Putnam Holiday Panel. Thank you guys so much for like coming this year and like joining this like little panel.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I hope you guys have like a good rest of like your holiday season, and that it is truly magical for everyone this year. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, friends.
Bye.